I'm in the town of Namie. It's a small town about 6 miles away from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear reactor. It was closed until about 3 years ago when the Japanese government declared that it was safe for people to move back in. There's still an area where visitation and inhabitation is prohibited, but the government has cleared the way for Namie. I almost named the reactor instead of the town, for Namie to be resettled. There's been a lot of press about how people have been slow to move back in, but I have to say it is really busy. I drove through part of town and I saw some houses that clearly hadn't been kept up, with some overgrown weeds here and there, and some businesses that were the same. In the middle of town, though, it doesn't feel much different than a lot of other places. This shows in part some of the good fortune that the reactor meltdown wasn't worse than it was, and the explosions that released a plume of radioactive fallout weren't worse than they were. It is also a testament to the Japanese government's ability to organize and execute a cleanup. But there's some concerns about radiation for people, and it's led to a lot of risk aversion for the Japanese people. So far, almost all nuclear power plants in Japan have been idled. They've been put on hold, and Japan is struggling to find alternatives. What I've noticed in the region around here on the drive-in has been that there are solar power stations going up like crazy. A lot of new construction on massive solar power installations around the region. So that's one way that they've been trying to meet the need for power without having to rely on nuclear. But there's also some concern that the Japanese power companies will start investing in coal instead of more renewable energies, which of course is not so good for climate change.